Hey guys, it's sorry. Hey guys, it's Miranda Namias. I'm here today to talk about email marketing and specifically engagement. So, if you watched the training earlier this month from Mira Cawthon, she went into detail about why it's better to have a engaged list versus a big list. So, kind of going off of that, I want to talk about how to get your list more engaged, why engagement is so important, and all of those things. So I'm just going to jump right in. So the first thing I want to talk about is why email engagement is so important, why you want to have an engaged email list. And this is kind of obvious, but just in case you guys weren't sure, it's really important to have an engaged email list because the more engaged your subscribers are, the more likely they are to purchase from you in the future, the more that you can get them reading your emails, opening your emails, replying to your emails, the more that they are, getting to know you and getting involved in your brand and learning more about you and checking out your offers and checking out your resources. And the more that they do that, the more likely they are to purchase from you. So it's really important to have an engaged email list, and that's why we want to do this. So there are a couple of different ways that you can improve your email list engagement. And actually, there are a lot of ways that you can improve your email list engagement, but the two main things that I want to talk about today are, I'll talk about the two things that have really helped me in particular. And that is two things: getting people to reply to your emails as well as purging your list. So the first one, I feel like this is something that people don't frequently do with their emails, but it's something that I really try to do with a lot of the emails that I send out, is to really encourage people to actually reply back to you. And I find that when people reply back, when I answer them personally, it starts up a conversation and we get to know each other. We might become friends. I just find that that is a great way to get really good engagement from your subscribers, is to encourage them to reply. And how I do this is I'll just ask like a question in the email, or in the PS area, I'll be like, hey, hit reply and let me know if you have any questions, or answer this for me, or whatever. So I just, in most of the emails that I send out, really try to get people to respond to me. If I'm doing a sequence where I am trying to sell something, I will make that the CTA in the first couple of emails will be to respond to me. But then later on, if I have a different CTA, like to actually view the sales page or to purchase the product, I won't actually ask them to respond to me for those emails, because a response is a call to action in and of itself. So you really want to not overutilize it. So don't put it in every single email. And make sure that if you have another call to action in your email already, not to add that other one, because the more call to actions you have, the more complex it gets, and you don't want to confuse anybody or distract them. So yeah, but I find that having that in my email sequences and in the newsletters that I send out, it really helps people to form a connection with me, and I really like that, being able to talk to them personally. I really want to be friends with everybody on my email list. I don't just want it to be a bunch of people, numbers that I don't know. I really want to get to know them. So I really enjoy it when they respond back to me, and I always respond personally. I check my email for that type of response a couple of times a week. And yeah, I've had really good success with that. So that's the first thing. But the main thing that I want to talk about today is purging your list. So I have not been great about this in the past, because it's so easy to get caught up in thinking oh, my email list is this, it's getting more and more every month. And then when it's time to purge your list, you're like, oh man, my email list is going to go down. I was so proud of the number, and now it's less than before. And so it can be kind of a mindset thing where you have to think, even if your email list number is less, that's totally okay, because what's really important is your engagement rate. So printing your list is really important, and I would recommend trying to do this about once a month. So I'm actually going to go through today and show you how to set up a like a auto purging thing in your email marketing system. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you how to do it in ConvertKit as well as ActiveCampaign. And so hopefully you guys find this helpful. So yeah, I'm just going to show you how to do this automatically. Because I feel like a lot of people don't utilize this feature in your email marketing system. So yeah, let's get right into it. So I'm going to switch this over to my other screen. Oh, do I have this set up correctly? Yes. Okay, perfect. Let me just pull this down. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna sit Indian style. Okay. Alright, so first I'm going to show you how to do this in ConvertKit because I feel like that's the more popular one, but I prefer ActiveCampaign and that's what I'm using. So I'm actually on a client's account today. And so, okay, the first thing is we're going to want to create a sequence. So I'm already in the sequences page here. So I'm just going to go to create sequence. And then I'm going to name this something like, I don't know, purge list sequence, create sequence. Okay, and then it's going to be it's just going to be one email. So I am not going to give you the copy for this. I actually have an email right here that I'm just going to copy and paste. I'll actually give you this sequence if you're part of, I'll give you this copy if you're part of the vault. And then, oh my gosh, what's the email subject list? Okay, I did already, so friends. Okay, and then you're just going to want to publish it when you're done, and you're going to want it to send, no, I want to send it immediately. Okay, good, immediately. And then save all. Okay, great. Then you're going to want to go to your subscribers page here and create a tag. And the tag should be called something like cold subscribers. Okay, and then you're gonna go over to, sorry if you see me looking down, I have all the steps right now. Go to automations, go to rules. You're gonna add a rule. And so the trigger is gonna be when the tag is added. I'm just going to find cold subscribers. We are going to subscribe to a sequence. Purge list sequence. Save rule. So then you want to go over to subscribers here. And you're going to want to actually go to this bar here, which I feel like it took me a really long time to realize that was even a thing. You could click on, yes you can, go down to cold subscribers, and then you're going to want to select this button here so that it selects all of them, and then click this select all of them again, and then bulk actions, we're going to tag them as cold subscribers, save. And then, so this doesn't actually trigger it, I don't think. Let me see. Oh, okay, good. Tagging subscribers here will trigger automation rules and automations. Okay, cool. But if that, for whatever reason, if that doesn't work, I do find ConvertKit can sometimes be a little glitchy. You can just select all and then add them to a sequence that way. So, yeah, so that will make it so that it sends them to the sequence that we just created. And basically the sequence is going to send them this email that you created, and the email should have an engaging subject line so that they open it. And then within the email, you just want to be like, hey, I noticed that you haven't engaged in a while. Like, I was wondering if you still wanted to be a subscriber. And then give them the option to, like, manually unsubscribe. And then you are, you'll just like be manually unsubscribing them because they will unsubscribe on their own, or they will read the list and get re-engaged, and then they won't be in your cold subscribers anymore. So you're also probably going to want to set up something so that like if people are re-engaged, they get untagged as cold subscribers. So you could probably set up something like, so after they finish that sequence, they get untagged. And then you're going to want to set up like a to-do in your Asana or something where every 30 days you are encouraged, you have a to-do list in your Asana or whatever to go into your email service provider and select all of your cold subscribers and tag them as cold subscribers. So yeah, you'll just have to do that every 30 days or however often you want to do that, and that will trigger everything and you will be all set. So next I'm going to go over how to do this in ActiveCampaign. So let's see. In ActiveCampaign, they actually have, it's like super easy to set up. They have it as like a template automation. So if you're in ActiveCampaign, you can go to automations and then new automation and then part 1, engagement tagging. And then you basically don't have to do anything. You just let this go, and then you would just make it active, and then you would go back to automations, add another new one, and you would click part 2, engagement tagging, and again you don't have to do anything. Oh, it's just gonna make you select your domain and everything. Okay, so oops, I actually have the part 2 one is already set up. And so I actually have it so that if they read an email, if they click a link, if they visit my website, then it triggers that part 2 engagement tagging. So it's not just like if they click on something, it's also if they open an email and read it. So it's a little bit less strict, but obviously you could like delete that one and make it that if you want to be really strict, that you keep only anybody who clicks a link on an email or whatever you would like. So yeah, you can see how that's set up in here. And then so what happens is, although this is part 2, this is really kind of part 1. So this is what happens first, and then they get tagged as part 1, and then you can see part 1, they go through this thing where it's like every a certain amount of days they get tagged as, first they get tagged as engaged, and then they get tagged as disengaged, and then they get tagged as inactive, and then they get tagged as purge contact. So basically you have it set up so that at any given time you can go to your tags and see how many people are engaged, how many people are disengaged, and there's kind of like this level, the scale level, where you can see like how many people are engaged, how many people are disengaged, how many people are inactive, how many people are disengaged to the point where you should probably delete them. But I have an additional thing set up so that I didn't really want to delete everybody who got to the point where it said purge contact. So what I did was I went in and I made this separate automation that was called "Do you want to stay a subscriber?" And basically I have it so that if the tag is added that they are at that purge contact level, it automatically sends them this email, which is the same email that I already previously showed you. And then in the email gives them like a couple options, and I actually have it so that if they click a certain link in the email, it automatically unsubscribes them, versus having them like scroll down and click the unsubscribe link at the end, because sometimes just clicking that will unsubscribe them from a certain sequence, but it may not unsubscribe them from the whole list. At least I've had people complain about that before. So I do have it so that if they click that link, it actually subscribes them from like everything. If they don't, it just goes, they go back, and they'll be, if they at least open it, they'll go back to the point where their tag is engaged, and they'll go through the whole process again. In this email, I do make sure to say like, hey, I'll check up on you again in like a little while, so that if they do get to the point where they receive that email again, it's not a surprise. Like, so they will, if they do open the email and then do not unsubscribe, but then they become disengaged again, it will resend them that email after a certain point. But I think that would be encouragement for them to like, hey, you engaged and then you like didn't engage, so maybe you should really unsubscribe this time. But yeah, in the email I give them like a couple of like my most popular blog posts and stuff, just to be like, hey, like, here's some of my content, hopefully you'll like it. So that's kind of what I tried to do with that. And then yeah, that was pretty much it. So and I really like that in ActiveCampaign the whole thing is completely automatic, versus in ConvertKit you do have to go in every 30 days and manually tag your cold subscribers as cold subscribers. But in both cases, the whole thing is pretty easy. So I hope that you found this tutorial helpful and that you will be purging your email list contacts soon if you don't already do it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again soon.